The Silk Road is often pictured as a tapestry of camel trains and peaceful exchanges between distant markets, but the reality was far more brutal. The Han dynasty originally engineered these routes as a logistical weapon of statecraft. In 138 BCE, the Han Empire was locked in a war of attrition with the Xiongnu nomadic confederation that was draining the imperial treasury. Standard frontal assaults against the nomads had failed, forcing Emperor Wu to look for a non-traditional solution. Global trade emerged from a desperate military imperative, breaking a lethal encirclement. Han infantry could not outmaneuver highly mobile Xiongnu cavalry on the open steppe. Emperor Wu lacked basic data. The Han possessed zero geographical or military intelligence regarding the terrain west of their borders. This blind spot prevented the Han from logistically outflanking their enemy or identifying potential allies. The Han command determined that victory required a two-front war, forcing the Xiongnu to defend their rear. Before the empire could deploy a single soldier to the west, they had to map the territory. In 138 BCE, Emperor Wu commissioned a military officer named Zhang Qian to lead an expedition into the Western Void. His objective was clear: locate the displaced Yuezhi people and negotiate a military alliance against the Xiongnu. The mission was a tactical failure. Zhang Qian was captured by the Xiongnu and held for 13 years. He eventually escaped, pushing further west through the Tarim Basin to complete his reconnaissance rather than returning empty-handed. While the diplomatic mission failed, Zhang Qian's return provided the intelligence needed to reorganize the empire's entire western strategy. Zhang Qian returned to the Han capital in 125 BCE, delivering a report that was later codified by the historian Sima Qian in the Shiji. His findings revealed sedentary empires in Central Asia matching China's sophistication, specifically Daiwan, Daxia, and Anxi. In Daxia, Zhang reported a 1 million-strong population with a specialized market economy. Further west, Parthian Anxi maintained advanced urban centers and silver currency. These states used silver currency and maintained extensive records. Zhang noted that while they were economically rich, they were militarily weak and prized Han goods. This intelligence allowed the Han to shift from a strategy of defensive containment to active westward expansion. The report identified a specific military asset in the kingdom of Daiwan, the heavenly horses. These horses were larger and stronger than the smaller Xiongnu ponies, offering a distinct physiological advantage in combat. The Han High Command realized that acquiring these horses would close the capability gap, providing the cavalry remounts needed to destroy the Xiongnu. However, the Daiyuan leadership refused to trade these horses to the Han Empire voluntarily. The Han now had the target, but they needed a way to pay for it. Emperor Wu leveraged the state's monopoly on silk to finance the horse acquisitions. The government transformed the textile into an international fiat currency used for high-stakes diplomacy. Silk was the ideal logistical currency because it was light, it was non-perishable, and strictly controlled by the state. Ultimately, silk became a strategic asset used to purchase the heavy military hardware required to challenge the Xiongnu. The official opening of the western routes in 130 BCE was fundamentally a massive state project centered on militarization. Establishing a corridor through the Taklamakan Desert required a massive engineering and architectural effort to sustain long-range supply lines. The Han extended the Great Wall deep into the desert to protect military envoys and silk shipments from nomadic raids. Fortified checkpoints like the Jade Gate were built to regulate all movement and ensure state control over the corridor. This early route functioned as an armed supply chain, largely closed to unauthorized civilian travel. This corridor enabled the macroeconomic outflanking of the Xiongnu. The route physically and economically separated the Xiongnu from the resources and allies of the West. As the Han influence expanded, it compressed the Xiongnu sphere of influence. Isolated from allies and facing Han cavalry mounted on superior horses, the Xiongnu Confederation eventually collapsed. Emperor Wu ended the conflict by architecting a continental trade blockade that systematically dismantled the Xiongnu economy. Over time, Buddhist philosophy, Greco-Bactrian art, and papermaking technology moved along these paths, leaving a permanent mark on every culture they touched. This cultural integration occurred along a logistical spine originally built for the Han military. At its very inception, the Silk Road was a calculated instrument of war, made possible by deep penetration espionage. The infrastructure that eventually enabled a globalized world was first built to dismantle a rival empire.